live. What is up, everybody?
Yay! Hi,
Welcome.
hello.
Welcome to
Welcome,
the show.
welcome. No, I was saying welcome. Okay.
Welcome.
Welcome. Welcome.
Welcome. Let's go. Daryn, what's up? How are you?
I'm doing good. A little busy. Life's moving at a fast pace, but that's what's being an adult is all about.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Trust
Can I
me.
get
Yeah.
an amen? But with tears.
Amen. With all the tears that I'm going to hide. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I'm feeling much the same. But happy to be here talking the nerdy stuff with you.
Best part of the week.
It is pretty chill for sure. Let's start with our shared love of Invincible. What did you think of last week's episode? Do you know that some people are talking crap on it?
Okay, you know what I was thinking of? You know, when we were talking about Invincible initially last week, and you said that it had real Monster of the Week potential?
Yeah.
This was it.
Yeah.
Monster of the Week potential, and this was a Monster of the Week episode, and maybe it's just because I'm a comic lover that I'm into it.
Yeah.
I like it. I like the Monster of the Week sometimes. Sorry.
And you know what? To be fair, too, I think Monster of the Week can help. I mean, live in this world more too, because like you were saying,
sure.
I think you said that your boyfriend, because your boyfriend's a big fan, yeah.
Yeah.
And he said that they're going fast.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
they're
yeah.
moving, right? So maybe it's okay to take kind of a partial little break like that. And also for me, the episode's really about the ending. You know what I mean? With the wife for sure finding out and calling him out, and also the visit to Mark Hamill as the Taylor.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I don't. Okay, everyone who's talking shit about it, relax a little bit, okay? Because with all comic book stories, there's always a Monster of the Week thread in it. They got to fight monsters. They got to do like a little kick, punch on the side. But it's not like the story was abandoned for it. The story was still being told at a pretty good and steady pace. You know, his friends are finding out about it.
Yeah.
He's having the wife, which is something I'm very, very interested in, because I have like imprinted on Sandra Oh's character. Like, I just think the wife
cool,
is so
man.
awesome, and I want things to work out for her. And it's tough. And that whole Taylor scene with him like subtly threatening him, it was all still happening. So
yeah, I'm with you. I didn't even like. I don't know. It was one of those weird things where after the episode, I was really hyped, and then went to the internet and found out that I was wrong. You know what I mean? Like one of those kind of situations. And I think
because the drama was so heavy in the beginning, right? Like the drama was so flashy. You know, he murders spoiler alert. He murders everyone in the first episode, and a lot of the episodes continue on that thread with like, you know, what am I thinking? Why can't I think of words right now? Just like bombs in every episode.
Yeah. It has a crazy pace.
Like really being turned up to 11. And so to take the time in one episode to not have things going to shit for 1 second, to just kind of tell a little story about Mark, I guess. I could see how it could be disappointing to people. Yeah. But yeah, I totally agree with you, where it's like, if this means that we get to spend more time in this universe, I'm all for it. I also don't like when it's Monster of the Week and it feels useless. But like this show masterfully did the thing where it does Monster of the Week, but it still implements like strong story elements and introduces new things, like the weird shit with like Robot and Monster Girl. So they're still laying threads down and continuing on earlier threads within this Monster of the Week like style. And also within the Monster of the Week story itself, I like the way they handled that as well, because it wasn't even, it was kind of sad. Like,
yeah,
it was a bummer. Like nothing.
It was dark.
Yeah, it was like, really dark.
They took the boyfriend, the Ken doll gay boyfriend.
I know that part was actually really sad to me. Like that subtle scene at the end where he like reaches out to touch his face and he's like no, and he just turns away and he's like no, and then William just starts like crying, and you're just like, that's so sad. Like
it's actually
so
super
sad.
dark. Like it's that's like really, really dark stuff. And then the one that kills himself, he like rips the flesh off of his own thing, and then he rams his own. Yeah, it was so wild. So yeah, I don't know. I wasn't disappointed with it, but
like Invincible didn't save the day.
Invincible did not save the day, which was kind of cool. It also sets up a crazy, like, what do you think is going to happen? Like, how are they going? Like, is he? This is where I think we're at a precipice with the show.
Yeah.
I think we may now discover that even Nolan himself was not fully in charge during that situation, that maybe even he's being played and trying to figure out what's going on, because otherwise she can't stand by a psychopath, right?
Well, he just seems completely irrational at this point, which kind of I think lends itself to your earlier theory. Wait,
Burp
first
count.
burp. Wait, second burp.
I don't
Wow,
know. That we should count that as one.
That was
I don't
like
know.
a mini. That was like
Yeah.
a subtle burp. I think it lends itself to your earlier theory that there is a change happening within him that he doesn't understand. Because even the scene with Cecil at the end, or in the middle, where he was like, he's being a teenager, and he's like, they're not teenagers on Viltrumite,
Yeah,
Viltron,
whatever.
whatever it's called. He's like, they don't do that there. And he's like, yeah, bro, he's half human too. This is super normal. So just isn't that kind of fun? And he's like, absolutely not. You're like, damn, bro. Like,
Yeah.
can
I
you
guess
relax?
not.
Like, what is wrong with you? And then you have to think like this Sandra, or the mom character. What's her name in the show? Can't remember.
Yeah, I'm blanking.
The mom character. I can't imagine the way they're setting her up would just fall in love blindly with a psychopath, which means that there has to be some change. Like this isn't really him, or maybe it is him, but like in a different version of it, because it seems like he has been totally irrational. And of course, the minute he starts being irrational, the wife, because it's always your partner that sniffs it out first, which is like, the fuck? Like, may not be what everyone else can see, but the spouse is usually the one that's like, well, don't lie to me, because I can tell. So
100%. I love that idea. I'm really hoping that he, because she seems to be able to just cut right through it, right?
Yeah.
So, with the end scene there where he's just sitting there thinking sort of his way out of it.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, like, is he, because it could go a number of different ways. He could go full snap and just go crazy, and that would be very scary and crazy.
Oh my God, I know. I'm so scared he's going to kill her.
I know, right?
I'm scared he's going to kill
technically,
her. I will cry. If you
that would be horrible, but it would also potentially set up Invincible and him to have a very crazy Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker-esque kind of a thing.
Like, I'll never forgive you, kind of.
Exactly. You killed my mother, even though you're my father. Now I have to kill you,
Yeah.
Or is this the moment where we discover that even Nolan is, maybe what happened was not his control? Some people think it's the robot guy. Did you
Oh, yeah. I love the way they're setting that up as well, because it is so vague. It's so interesting. And though the stuff with Monster Girl, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Is this creepy? Is this cute? Is this like endearing, or is this maniacal? Like, I love it.
It's really weird. So what if Nolan was not actually the one that quote unquote did it, that he wasn't in control, and the whole time he's now trying to cover up his tracks, not because he's truly guilty, but because he doesn't want to lose everything, to be diminished, to have his reputation taken away. We haven't really seen any evidence of him actually trying to uncover what happened to him. Maybe he knows what happened to him. You know what I mean? So I don't know. This is a moment that I think the show is really gonna open up, hopefully, to its next sort of arc, if you will, of conflict. Well, you know what I mean?
If anyone's going to cut through it, it's the wife. Come on. Doesn't Nolan watch TV? I mean, probably not. He's out there murdering people, flexing his muscles, being a dick, intimidating tailors. But it's like, if he watched TV, he should know that the wife always cuts through. So if anyone's going to make him, have an existential crisis, it's going to be that woman throwing a wine bottle at your head.
Yeah, true. And that's going to be really cool to see him sort of work out too. So, I love the show. I'm expecting some pretty impactful stuff in the next episode. I think it's going to be pretty chill.
I also love a good romance like that for like a super powerful character. Like, it's an issue I have with Superman and Lois Lane. Sometimes, like, iterations where they're just like, he just loves her and she always brings him back to Earth. And you're like, but why though?
But why
this bitch? And like, or like in Thor with Natalie Portman's character Jane.
Yeah, Jane.
He was like, but she's the one. I'm like, but why though? Like, why this dude is like a god. He can do whatever he wants, have anything he wants. Why though?
Yeah.
And so this is one of those shows where you understand. You're like, oh, I get it. I do see the real value in their relationship, and I do see her having real pull and real weight in what's to come because of her ability to connect.
I love how
And just her as a character.
yeah, and I love how she gave him his morality that like he didn't
Yeah.
understand humans at all, and she was like, "Yo, like this is what you have to do." That's pretty interesting, and
Oh, I loved. Oh, yeah, I love that dialogue where he's like, "Oh,
yeah,
I'm a superhero." Dad, and she's like, "Fuck you! You were an
yeah,
alien. You didn't know shit about us. You're welcome, by the way."
yeah, yeah,
Like, and I
yeah,
was like, I love that take on that.
yeah, yeah. It's really interesting, because I think that it's funny because it's actually a sort of an extension of actual like attraction from men sometimes, like where
Yeah.
like sometimes men like are either cold, closed off, or hardened, and it will be that one person that sort of brings down those walls and then becomes the way by which that man can then somehow extend that love, you know what I mean, sort of through that person. So even though it's kind of messed up, I still think there's something mirroring reality a little bit too, which is interesting to draw.
No, for sure, which is what I think they're always trying to do with those relationships in comics, but they don't
Yeah.
always do well because it is like a totally honest story, right? It's like if someone really gets into the vulnerability of that person, they're able to open them up in ways and, break them down in ways that other people just don't have access to. But at the same time, I always like to think about it operating in real life. So it's just not about the initial honeymoon phase, right? It's like if these people are with these superheroes long term, it's about what makes them stay. It's not just Stockholm syndrome, right? They're in a fully functioning relationship that changes and has problems. So why wouldn't they just like fly away and go be with some like hot alien in outer space? It's like there's a reason why this person helps them manage the superhero life and the ego and the overwhelming like arrogance and pitfalls and all of it together as a unit. And that's what I like to see in those relationships for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. Again, it's like an animated show, right? So it's kind of weird how deep and good some of these elements are from the character perspective, especially. That the voice cast is just crushing it too.
Okay. Justin Roiland in the last episode.
He was amazing. Oh my god, yes. It was perfect. He was so funny. It was awesome. So, yeah, hats off to the show. We're both looking forward to that. And then we have, of course, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
I know. I saw you're doing watch parties. I'm so jealous.
I know. I know.
I have to work this 9 to 5.
I know. These dang 9 to 5s are throwing out all. These dang 9 to 5s are ruining everybody's fun.
I'm here paying my bills and giving me health insurance. And
it's awful. That just sounds awful.
Just not letting me prance around on the internet, being a little delinquent.
I know, right?
Sons of bitches.
Fun. Cheers to being a delinquent.
What are you drinking?
Actually, just water, and it's not even Pellegrino. I've been tearing through San Pellegrinos, and now this is just regular water.
Sparkling water is a gift that I give to myself.
I love it. I saw you were drinking LaCroix. I'm super jelly. Plug. Yeah, sponsor.
Okay, Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yes, Falcon and Winter
Soldier.
Soldier.
Talk about ourselves and our drink choices.
Right. So, first, what did you think of last week's episode? I know we were talking a little bit. You were not the biggest fan of last week's episode, or at least parts of it, yeah?
Yeah, I just feel like maybe it was because of our, talks and how dialed in we are to everything. I was just expecting a lot more from episode 5. I mean, the show creator itself said, you're gonna cry. It's gonna be where everything like comes to a head. And I was like, all right, cool. I'm down for that. I feel like the show's been kind of slow, kind of all over the place and what it's trying to do. Like I would like it to start like coming together. And I don't think it did that. I don't know. I just like there were some nuggets in it that were really great and really moving. Again, like I'm saying every week, I think Anthony Mackie is the strongest part of that show. I think they should be giving him a raise or something because I think he is really, really the thread and the glue that's like holding the show together. And like all of his scenes were incredibly moving. I mean, even his little therapy scene, like we said last week, when I was like, when he gets into therapy mode, I'm like, damn, bro, I want to tell you all my secrets. What the fuck? Yeah. You're like so good at this. And I love that scene with him and Bucky where they're like, he's talking about, like do the work and the whole, and just cutting through the bullshit where he's just like, you want to make themselves feel better or want to make yourself feel better, make them feel better, be of service, like actually make amends and do it. And it was just, and it didn't feel corny or cheesy. I think that's the power of Anthony Mackie. He really can sell that in such an earnest way and bring real life to those scenes. So I love, and I'm like, and him with Isaiah Bradley, my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like, and that one was really stirring in a way. Just especially with all like the Black Lives Matter stuff going on right now and the discussions about race and your role, the role that, you know, Black people are expected to take and the change they want to see and all that pressure. I loved how they portrayed it in this show. And even the way they kind of resolved it in a way where it's like Isaiah Bradley's like, no self-respecting Black man would be Captain America. And then you have his sister on the other hand being like, are you going to let people tell you what to do? It's just such a what an unimaginable weight to bear that I can't even like begin to.
Absolutely. And I think that to the show's credit, extreme credit, it is handling that particular issue probably the best I've seen in modern pop culture. You know what I mean? I do frankly believe that, and it's more than just that side of it too, but though, because like I strongly feel like Sam as a character, like being so well reasoned and so well adjusted to even his own struggles as a Black man is a very interesting juxtaposition against people like Isaiah Bradley. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he says to his sister, I think like if I was in his situation, I would, you know, probably feel the exact same way. But it's like super clear that Sam does not feel that way. You know what I mean?
Isaiah Bradley's coming from a different generation.
True.
You know, and that is also the weight that, you know, Black people have to bear as well, right? It's like trying to shoulder not the burdens, but
it's almost like
I guess, some of the burdens that the past generations have gone to in order to affect the change that they want to see and like what that looks like and how you adapt it and also keep your own personal journey within it. Like, God, so fucking complex. And
it's
for something that we don't even have to deal with. So
100%. I think that aspect of the show is really well handled. I think my main criticism is that I just wish this had been like episode 3. You know what I mean? Like, I frankly feel like
I can totally see that.
It just feels like we've spent so long to get here, and unfortunately, like this content is not coming out in a vacuum. And you know, to your point about like some of the racial issues, but also this is coming out in a world of like a year separated from actual Marvel content that we were supposed to get, a WandaVision series that, let's just face it, led people into a weird place with Marvel content. And I feel bad because there, like we just talked about, there are elements of the show that are so fantastic, but I'm like, man, y'all, I don't know about this strategy. Like, I just frankly don't know about this strategy. And I guess that'll take us into our feelings about episode 6, because my feeling on episode 6 is like, I'm hoping that it just brings it. I want the show and the finale to wrap up in a really great way, but also I want some fanboy stuff. I want some big stuff set up, you know. I want a big appearance. I want something crazy to happen. I think if we just get a resolution to the Flag Smashers and Sam picks up the shield, like I'm really fearful that if that's all it is, man, I'm gonna have to talk shit on a show that has incredible elements, because that just ain't it, man. You know,
you're totally right. Where it's just like, it's gonna be a shame if a show with really, really strong elements in it as a whole is viewed kind of lackluster. You know, because like it'll be viewed as a whole piece of work. The elements within it, I mean, hopefully, I'm sure there are some of all people that can like appreciate it, but as a whole, what it's doing in the Marvel universe. I mean, we were talking about this a little bit with the Val cameo, right? It kind of came out of nowhere, and then, you know, she walked out, and for me personally, I was just kind of like, damn, like another Easter egg. Like, when are we gonna get some actual shit happening? Because I mean, and I think this also has to do with the context that we're living in, that we have been living in a pandemic and everything has been pushed back. And so many Marvel projects that we should have had for like months now are just kind of being like stretched out and changed and whatnot. So I think we're all starving for some goddamn action. And I'm not just talking like punch, punch, kick action. I'm talking about like story plot action.
Totally.
And so it just felt like another teaser. And I'm like, okay. And then it's like, you know, John with the shield, all the things like maybe it's Dark Avengers, maybe it's Thunderbolts, maybe it's Secret Invasion. But it's just like, but just give me something.
Yeah, something
like, you know,
of
like
substance,
just I want something to really happen. Just really, really fucking happen. So you know for sure. Because it's like that's what the Marvel projects do, right? It's like they tell their own story, but they let you know this is what's happening and this is what's coming next.
Yeah.
And I just feel like we haven't gotten that in such a long time that I'm kind of like, what is happening?
No,
what is your plan? Like how long can we speculate? Like
that's the thing. It certainly feels like that absence of whatever they were trying to do with other elements, that should really be the priority. Like at the end of the day, I don't know. I guess what I can't decide is, was this show misadvertised? Was it mistimed? Or was it legitimately a mistake? You know what I mean? Because look, we have to wait and see, and we have to see what episode 6 was. But like, I'm not so in love with the show that I won't maybe recognize that this could have been another L. Like this could legitimately be another L for Marvel, and that is a damn shame. And I guess frankly I'm hoping that it blows everybody away, that there's a bunch of crazy action that people literally say,
or just some real
consequences. Like and here's the other side of it that sucks. We know they're gonna just beat the Flag Smashers with, like, it just seems like everything is so derivative. Like it's so derivative. Like they're gonna beat the Flag Smashers. Sam's gonna make a big old speech. We're gonna get all the shit we've been getting for 5 hours wrapped up in a nice little speech that's gonna be really impactful. I get it. It'll be dope. I'll probably love it as I'm watching it. But is there any part of this finale that's not gonna be paint by numbers? I don't know.
Dude, well, we talked about this last week where it's like, even though the previous episode we liked it, it was like I could see it all from 10 miles away. There wasn't any surprises in it whatsoever. And that is a really disappointing experience with Marvel, because I do think while Marvel can be very like cookie cutter and Disney in a way, I do feel like as in terms of story progression, it has had before the pandemic great momentum.
It's been snappy, dude. Snappy.
It's totally lost its momentum. And if it just ends with like a Flag Smasher resolution, I think that's going to be honestly, kind of an L for Marvel, because it's like, what are you trying to do? Is this a placeholder? Because it's
exactly. It's feeling like a placeholder. It's feeling like these shows were not ready and they just needed to put them out. You know what I mean?
And it kind of sucks because it's like it would be a different story, right? If we were also getting movies that were lending itself to the greater story. So we had these placeholder. Maybe we would view it totally different if right now we still had movies in theaters that we were seeing that were giving us that like Marvel high, that were bringing the greater MCU plot or pushing the greater MCU plot along. But this is all we have. And if it's all just placeholders, it's super unsatisfying, which is also kind of a bummer. Like, and maybe this is a Disney Plus thing, because, you know, we'll talk about this later too, but with like the Defenders, like with all their storyline, never felt like placeholders. Those were incredible shows.
You know what's funny? Let's go with that, because we did, you know, in the NERDVENGERS, I think it was Coachella Coastal that said, you know, but at this point, are the Disney Plus shows really better than the Netflix shows?
No.
I would have to tell you right now, 100% no.
No.
100%
no. Like, sorry, extra hard, extreme hard no. Daredevil seasons 1 and 2 are probably one of the greatest TV shows I've ever seen, like in my life.
Agreed.
Like in my fucking life.
Agreed.
Jessica Jones season 1,
get
the
God.
fuck out of town.
So good. Might be better than Daredevil. Legitimately might be better than Daredevil.
I can't even make that choice, because they're both so like did things in TV I truly hadn't seen yet and still haven't felt before. Like, you know, when you're streaming, when you're binge watching a show like we all do these days, it is so rare that I binge watch a show and I'm like leaning forward in my chair the whole time and like having to like pause to like fucking collect myself from like what I'm seeing. And Daredevil and Jessica Jones both did that. And so that's what I'm kind of annoyed at these placeholder elements when I know they could kind of do something greater with the right pieces in place. But at the same time, the Defenders shows aren't trying to tell a story that's connected to the bigger MCU plot. So if that's a issue with these Disney Plus shows, it's frustrating even more, only because it's like they haven't even like revealed any. So it's not even like servicing that either. So it's kind of like, what is going on?
Yep. I'm with you, and it's rather disappointing. I mean, I'm again. There's a lot of pressure. Maybe it's just personal pressure on episode 6 for Falcon and the Winter Soldier because it's totally. I guess it's just a recalibration ultimately for me because this is just so not what I expected from both of these shows, and that is what it is. I'm going to have to recalibrate and look if Loki looks absolutely amazing and looks like it's totally different and on like a completely another level.
I'm still hyped for that show. I'm a little more, I'm disappointed by Falcon and Winter Soldier and WandaVision, but I don't know. Something in me is telling me Loki's going to be better. Maybe it's naive with that, but I don't know. I just like feel like it is.
Yeah. I'm with you and I'm hopeful.
And also, wait, sorry to interrupt, but it's because Skrulls are in that show. So again, servicing the greater plot. So they've already told us like because we know Secret Invasion is coming. So it's like they've already shown that Skrulls are going to be in that show. So it's like I know at least that's going to start connecting. I don't know. I think it's gonna be great.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think actually I have high hopes for the next round of Disney Plus shows. I think that we do as fans have to wait until like we sort of really get out from under what was happening with the Pandy. Apparently it has to be much worse than like it's got to be worse than they were leading on for sure. To have had to squeeze the last 2 episodes of WandaVision like that, and then whatever's going on with the Flag Smasher virus plot that they cut out and left them feeling like complete shells of villains. It's just really weird. So hopefully on the other side of all of that, like drama or issues in production, we can get more focused and completed visions for these shows, so I'm still hopeful for like She-Hulk and Moon Knight and all of these other shows to really hit their mark and go forward, but frankly
no, go ahead.
Just gotta call a spade. Like this is not what I expected. This is not the vibe I expected us to be in after WandaVision, and certainly not going into the finale of Falcon the Winter Soldier. When I was making plans last year, looking at these shows and looking at the calendar year, this is just definitely not what I expected to be doing right now.
Dude, for sure. And it's like, and I know that you have like qualms with like the amount of action in the show. And I have similar qualms to the fact where I'm genuinely like just kind of like we were shocked in like the WandaVision like big bad fight, and the same with like the Falcon and Winter Soldier fight. I'm like, where's the creativity, bro? Like it's just like Marvel has never disappointed, at least in that realm. Like I have seen the money in there that they put into all of those things with like the fight choreography and the design and the like just the creativity in general. And I'm just it's sad to not see that, because like we talked about last week with like the Flag Smasher action, it's like that should have at least been, I feel like they could have done something really creative with like the messiness of untrained fighters fighting against soldiers
with super soldier strength. Where is the freaking super soldier strength? All they do is get their ass kicked.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It could have been messy, right? Like there should have been like things thrown and them like falling in weird ways.
What was the one dude's power? Just getting shot really well, like literally. Like it doesn't make. I'm so like, yeah. It's
and
really
then
weird.
it was kind of a bummer because like with the John Walker Falcon Winter Soldier fight, that was like I was pretty pumped for that, and then I was just kind of like I feel weird only because it's like I don't feel invested enough in John Walker for this to be cool, which is not a slight against like, because I think the actor's actually done a really good job with that, and he's had really good. I know you really liked like the courtroom scene, and we were talking about like the scene with his family. Okay, wait, pause. Last week we talked about how the show creator said that we were gonna like cry real hard in this episode. I did not cry.
Yeah,
I think I kind of teared up when John Walker visited.
Yeah, that we were talking about. That's the closest to emotional that I got. You know what I mean?
Cry for like everything.
Dude, there's nothing to cry about. I mean, look, even the here's why I think Malcolm. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't know why. I guess he probably said that because of the Isaiah Bradley scene. But here's why I think that's weird. Sam's the rock. He's a foundation. Even though he's curious and he's processing a lot, he's still a rock in that scene, bro. I can't cry. Like, Isaiah Bradley's story is horrible and it sucks and it's, but like, maybe if it were Sam that was breaking down and you know, then maybe I'd cry. Or if there was something with him and his sister that was going on, like maybe
yeah,
I
that's
would
what
cry.
we predicted. We're like, if Sam has like a real moment of like
Yeah.
breakdown vulnerability, that would be super moving. And like, kudos to the guy. Is he like Kurt Russell's son? What's his name?
Yeah, Wyatt Russell.
Wyatt Russell. He's doing a great job with John Walker. He gets like, you know, like 5 scenes in like the whole show. Feels like, and he's doing a great job with those short, brief scenes
Yes,
that he
he
has.
is.
So like, hats off to him, because it's like a tough character to play, the character that everyone's supposed to hate, and you also get like no screen time. So hats off to him for what he's done. But for like this fall of Captain America, it kind of feels a little disingenuous when we don't really, there has been no emotional relationship or connection to him, like as the viewer, other than just like admiring
Yeah.
his performance. And like, it's like the fight was cool and stuff, but I mean, this is not
It's yeah, it's I don't know. I don't want to go too hard on the show, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But it's like I'm hoping that Six can and really you know, do it a lot of justice, and then I can look back on it and say like, yeah, that was a great
Yeah, that was
enjoyable
great.
experience. You know what I mean? But
Wait, can we make one more joke? This isn't even
Yeah.
a slight against the show. It just like genuinely made me laugh. Do you feel like the blood on the shield got more screen time than John Walker?
yeah, the blood on the shield was more of a focus than John Walker. Absolutely.
Do you think if we did the time on screen, the blood on the
Yep.
shield?
I'll tell you this: there's more close up of the blood on that shield than there are action sequences in this freaking show. Like that's pretty much where I'm at with it.
I like kind of couldn't like I at a certain point at the end of that fight, because I was like into the fight. I'm like, yeah, ooh, and then I was like, and then it'd be blood on the shield again. I was like, I get it. I get it.
You got to see that blood.
And
You
then
got to see
Sam at
that
the end is like,
stain.
I'm gonna wipe it off though. I was like, I would have assumed he wiped it off at some point. I don't think
Yeah.
I needed to see like the symbolic wiping off the blood, but
Oh,
it did.
well.
It really tickled me to see
Yeah.
how often that blood was.
It was pretty weird. That was a great fight, though. I like
I know
that fight.
it was really fun.
I was like, that is awesome. And then they were like, that's all the action you're getting. But that's all right.
But I'm excited for the next episode. Again, I'm still like a huge Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan fan, so I'm like ready for it.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be dope. Again, hoping it's gonna be real chill. If the Power Broker's somebody dope that's connected, if they just throw some dope stuff on there, just do your dope Marvel stuff. Don't hold back and just be awesome. And then
Yeah.
you know, I think we're gonna be all right. So
Yeah, I
let's
think what it comes down to is we just want more. God damn it.
yeah, damn it for
We
sure.
want more,
And
more.
we're allowed to be greedy Marvel fans.
It's
We've
just
earned
me
it.
being better. I think so.
Yeah, it might be. Okay,
better.
let's talk about the new report out there about the Defenders characters. We were just talking about the Netflix characters. We absolutely love many of these
Yes.
characters. Seems like they're grabbing all the good ones
Yeah.
and bringing them over to the MCU. So, what's your general take? And then we can kind of just nerd out about that for a while and get into Q&A.
I mean, I'm so excited. I'm so glad that what's his fuck that did Iron Fist?
Finn Jones, I think.
Finn Jones.
Yeah.
Sorry, Finn Jones. Get
Sorry,
out.
Finn.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I've already forgotten you in my mind.
Yes.
You were a
agreed.
waste of my brain space. Sorry.
Yeah.
Like, I guess you were good in Game of Thrones. Is that the only thing I've seen you in? You were in there for like 2 seconds. But
Yeah, he was in there for a little bit, yeah.
Iron Fist was just not it in so many different ways. But like, holy shit, like we just said, like Daredevil and Jessica Jones have been some of my favorite TV experiences of all time.
Yeah.
Of all time, spanning all genres. Like, I'm not even front, like that shit slaps so hard, and it has amazing rewatch value, which is hard for a drama of that caliber. It's kind of like Breaking Bad. Like, Breaking Bad is so good that even when you know what happens, you can rewatch it and still just be floored because
Yeah, and very captivated, you know, and just into it. Yep, I agree.
And part of that was the encapsulating and these act like becoming them. Like, Jessica Jones will forever be synonymous with Kirsten Ritter, like in my mind. Forever.
Well,
she did it so well.
To your point, I think that is exactly why Feige, it's so funny because, like, okay, so this is kind of an interesting thing. I actually was super hard reporting that this would never happen, right? Because
I
I
mean, it
mean,
was a good
it
for
felt
good reason.
yeah,
Like,
for sure.
really,
But I think the ultimate reason that Feige did go to bat and literally convince Disney brass to do
mhm,
something that, because he has that kind of pull, is because he probably made the argument whoever we cast will inevitably be compared against these perfect performances. So
for
let's avoid
sure.
that. And he's like, so let's avoid that and just grab them and do a different version for our stuff, because they'll still be able to nail it. Like they're going to essentially be that character just like they were before. It'll just they're apparently not going to reference their backstory and
Mhm.
do just moving forward MCU stuff. So
That's such a good point, actually, that I hadn't like really thought of. With just if they had recast it with something that had been done so soon. I also think that's why Star Wars ends up shooting itself in the foot because they're always trying to recreate characters that started out as like actor given performances.
yeah, that's
You know what I
fair.
mean? And so they're
Hmm.
always trying to be Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher, and they're trying to encapsulate that for people that totally made the character who they are and are also still alive. So no matter what, people will always be disappointed, like no matter what happens.
Yeah.
And so I honestly feel like Jessica Jones and Daredevil were iconic. And like if they replaced them at this point, people would be totally unforgiving. You're so right. Because how could you not be? After you saw the magic of Daredevil and Jessica Jones, and like even because Punisher guy's coming, but what's his name?
John Bernthal.
Yeah, Punisher as a character in the comics. Sorry, not that cool. Like
Yeah.
he's fine. Like when he shows up every once in a while, I'm like, hey, what's up, Punisher? Just like watch him pass on through. The only time I ever cared is when John
Yeah. I
Bernthal.
think it's actually Bernthal, but I don't know. Bernthal is what I've always
Yeah, I
heard.
don't know. Personally, for me, Punisher has never really like done it for me,
Yeah.
and I was like so shocked in the Daredevil show and the Punisher. I was like, oh my god, I'm
Yeah,
like
he
into it. Like
Yeah,
hell
he did
yeah,
great.
like
He did great. I like Frank from the comics, but like some of my favorite Frank stuff is like in Civil War, like when he saves
for
Spider-Man.
sure.
I
Like
mean,
that's
that
what I'm
shit
gonna
was
say. Like
crazy.
I like him more as like a side support character.
Hmm.
Like the fucking scene where he's like holding him and
Yeah, and Cap
like
tells him to
that. Like
stand down. Stand down, soldier.
yeah.
It's like, whoa,
So
yeah,
that's what I mean. It's like I like him as a support character. I never expected to like care about him
sure.
specifically and
Yeah,
like
they did
what
great with
he
that and
yeah.
his family. And Karen's a great sort of anchor for him too.
Mhm.
I thought that she did really well. I wonder if she'll actually come in there. There's subtle rumors about some
She
of the other
better.
characters. Well, there are some subtle rumors about some of those other characters, but the report today was pretty specific. Like Geeks
Mhm.
Worldwide, they do tend, or rather, the hashtag show, they do tend to have their finger on the pulse of a lot of this stuff. So it seems like this is something that they at least strongly believe in, and they were kind of saying that like this for now would probably be it, and a lot of the other stuff is not going to come over. So I expect Charlie Cox to play a big role. Let me ask you this: he's getting a new MCU costume, right? He has to.
I feel like if they do give them new MCU costumes, they're just going to be like brighter.
Yeah, well, that's what I want. Well, frankly, like I never loved the Daredevil costume in
Yeah.
Daredevil. Now it gets upgraded and stuff. And actually, you know
Yeah.
what's funny? The best version of the costume is the one that Bullseye wears in season 3. That was actually pretty cool. I like that one.
Yeah,
But
I do think that if they did get them, it would just kind of be like a brighter, like flashier version of what they've been doing. Although I am curious, if they gave Jessica Jones like an actual superhero costume, I'd be so curious to see how they would do that because I know, like in the comics, she has like her superhero costume that's kind of like not her.
yeah,
Like not
yeah,
her
yeah,
when she's
yeah.
lucid. So she's like wearing these like sexy costumes that are very like flashy.
Yeah, that's a great point. She's like pretty different in the comics. They really ground because she has that. What was her name? She's in the white and Jewel or
Yeah,
something.
Jewel? I think it was
I
Jewel,
think it
but
was
like
Jewel, but
yeah, that's her when she's whatever in her own
hmm,
controlled state. So that's not really like a representative of like who she would be at as a costume. And then behind me she's like Jessica Jones, like the PI. She's
yeah,
not really about that vibe anymore.
she does not want to do that. Yeah,
So I don't think she would I don't know if they really give her a superhero costume. Just keep her in the leather jacket. She looks great. She
Yeah,
looks so
no,
good.
agree. She looks awesome. And it's actually funny. Colt says they auctioned off the Netflix ones. That's 100% true. They technically can't do it unless Feige bought them, boy. That shit would be hilarious. He bought all the auctions and like just puts a fresh
Just
MCU
off the
paint
bat.
job on them, like just a little more red, baby. And dude, put it on video,
Yeah.
Feige with that big old Feige smile. Holy shit, that
And
would
you know
make
what?
me laugh, man.
One thing I really did love about the Netflix shows is that I felt like every actor in that show really, really, really gave a shit. You know, like, and in that way that you can't fake, and that as a viewer, it just like you can feel it in your bones when they just like take it to the next level, where they're like, I'm going to like become this character.
Yeah,
And it's just it would be such a fucking delight to see
yeah,
that continued on, because it's like when I see actors that like really care about this character and like want to be it for fucking decades, you know, and make all
yeah.
the cameos and all the appearances, it's just a delight. It's a delight as a viewer to be a part of. And more, please.
You know what I'll say too is like I'm seeing like Trinity get all triggered because Trinity's like a pretty big comic book purist, and I will throw Trinity a bone here because I do agree with him that the versions that we saw like of these characters are not super accurate to, especially like Kingpin. They're not like super accurate to the mythos from the comics. They're more of a character study of these characters, right? So
Mm-hmm.
D'Onofrio's like he's unbalanced. He's a little weird. He's kind of like the bullied kid
Yeah,
that
he's a
becomes
man
like
boy.
he's like a man boy, right?
Yeah,
But like Fisk in Marvel, that ain't Fisk. You know what I
he's
mean?
just like a
Like
crime boss. Like,
exactly.
yeah.
So I wonder if they're going to take these characters and make them a little bit more comic book established. Like for instance, with D'Onofrio specifically, I want to see the depth and I want to see the performance and I want to see everything that he brings with those little nuance scenes. But I also do want him to be like huge in the space, like not like physically, but like have a
Mm-hmm.
massive tower to know the Avengers, to know Norman Osborn, to be the big player that he is in the comics. And I think they can totally do that and still have that flavoring of D'Onofrio. And so maybe Trinity, if you're listening, we can have both.
Yeah, I see. I totally see what you mean about that. But I also think that was like the strength in the Netflix shows, and honestly, the strength in the MCU. So it's like if you're a
Mm.
comic purist, I mean, you could have the same qualms with the MCU and what they've done with all those
And he
characters.
does too, yeah.
Yeah, where it's just like changing it to tell a better story for the story they're telling now.
In the medium
Um,
in some ways too, yeah.
yeah, and I get it, but at the same time, if it serves a good purpose that still feels authentic and tells a story that is like truly riveting, I'm all for it. And maybe now, because they've already done that with the Netflix shows, they can kind of almost like revert them back to their more comic like iterations, where it's because what the Netflix shows are basically were establishing them.
Yeah.
So they're established now. So I don't think they really need to go into the more dramatic man boy performance aspects of
That's a
Kingpin.
very good point. And actually, maybe Feige is like super grateful in some ways that this is something that was
Yeah.
done. And he's like, oh, thank God. Like, because what was funny is if you look at the way he handled Spider Man,
Mhm.
you know, he's like, no, Uncle Ben. You know what I mean? Now we're kind of hearing that might have been a little bit of Sony's thing too. But
Yeah.
frankly, it's like that Batman joke where everybody's like, how many times we got to see Martha Wayne get shot? Like,
For
literally,
real.
how many
For
times we're
real.
about to watch her get shot in the alley? Like, you don't need to do that every
Yeah.
single time. And so maybe in some ways, especially because I think one of the lessons he learned after phase two was we need to put new twists on these old lemons. I mean, phase
sure.
two was sort of like traditional Hollywood sequel ways of doing things. Like just get
Mhm.
the band back together and try to recreate the magic. But that didn't really work. It
didn't
didn't
hit.
resonate. Yeah. And so
No.
like they realized, especially like with maybe Winter Soldier and then, you know, going towards Thor Ragnarok and those things like that, they're like, no, we need to take this character and technically put another number next to it, but give them a whole new kind of crazy adventure with different stakes and really impactful events. That's really the magic formula, you know? So
Yeah.
that sort of makes me think they could do some pretty fantastic things with all of these characters. And I mean, yeah, frankly, like Marvel fans, it's. But here's the other side of it. Let me just say this other thing. This my brain just won't let me let this shit go.
Mm-hmm.
It's also becoming a problem that we continue to hear dope shit like this, but the content we're watching is like it's making us feel like, are we getting way too excited? Because it feels like maybe we'll get Charlie Boner instead, or maybe like you know what I'm saying though? Like it legit feels
Yeah.
like, oh man, all this cool stuff that we're getting excited about, are we just totally off the reservation? Like, are we just totally not even in the same ballpark as to what the actual content is going to be? And whose fault is that? You know what I mean? Like, is that our fault as fans? Like, I don't know. Like, to me, every time I get super hyped about one of these stories, I can't help but think about the juxtaposition of that hype versus like where we're currently at.
Yeah, Marvel's in a really hard place in terms of continuing on something as monumental as what they've done with their MCU franchise. But I mean, what I've seen, as you said, from phase two, where they know, from what I've seen, they know how to pivot. They know how to see what didn't work and be like, all right, fuck that. We're going to do this instead. You can see that with like Thor Ragnarok, right? They're like, fuck it,
Yeah.
totally change the vibe. And it hit super hard. And, everyone can have their own issues with like, being a comic purist or having the story change or whatever. But ultimately, I've always felt like they've leaned towards telling a good story and putting out a good product. So it's super interesting to see them kind of flounder and not knowing what to do, as from an outside perspective, feeling like they had this shit like planned out for like 10 years, right? And maybe that has to do with the pandemic a lot. I have to assume that it does. I
It
have to
has
assume
to.
that pandemic plays so much into all of this, because in regards to like, oh my god, there's some mascara in my eye.
Oh
I
no,
think
you're gonna make it?
I got it. In regards to, finding out that like Secret Invasion was the next step, correct? I was like, oh, in my mind, I'm like, perfect. That also
Mm-hmm.
seems like a 10-year out plan, right? Because it's like, you have the Thanos snap, and then you have society kind of deteriorate a little bit and weird shit pop up, and then it makes it available to have something like Secret Invasion. That seems like the natural and effective story progression to go from a world cataclysmic event. So
Perfect.
that
Yeah.
seems smart and perfect and good. So it seems like the right elements are still in place, but maybe it's just the pandy that we're not getting it in the same progression that
The
we
way that it
usually
was
do.
designed.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But you know what that kind of means though?
Well,
That he had a good system but not a resilient system. You know what I mean? And I wonder, especially because even before that, with Sony being a butthole with Tom, it showed. I've heard that there was a massive reshuffling then. Do you know what I mean? They reshuffled stuff because they didn't know for sure that they would get Peter. So it's one of those things where it could be becoming a victim of their own success.
yeah.
And Star Wars did this weird thing where they killed off or made all of the expanded universe into Legends, and then they said everything's going to be canon. But the
Yeah.
problem with that is like we've had 3 video games or 4 video games in the past 5 years because they keep canceling stuff because they make the devs work everything into canon. It creates a weird pipeline issue
Yeah.
of the workflow, and then it ends up just falling apart in some of the worst places, which makes you think, well, why are you even doing this then if you restricted all this other stuff over here and then you didn't even follow through when it mattered over here, So in some ways,
That's a
these
good
companies,
point.
they can become victims of their own success. Marvel isn't Teflon. You know what I mean? Like they're not bulletproof, and I just
Yeah,
think it's
that's
interesting.
a really good point. Well, because I think we talked about the canon stuff for Star Wars last week too, and that kind of
Yeah,
being them being a victim of their own.
ambition in that way,
Yeah, it's like
almost.
I was
Yeah,
like, why did I lose the thread of that sentence?
yeah.
But yeah, same with Marvel. If they're trying to do all these projects while serving the larger plot, because that's what they've always done, and losing that kind of ragtag standalone movie hype that they've done before, it would be such a shame, because it's like they even just They did it a couple years ago, like Black Panther. Like, is it so far in the past you don't know how to do like a standalone story anymore? Like, come on, bro, just
Right.
do it. Like,
Yeah, I know. It is sort of feeling weird. But again, hopefully it's just the pandy and we can sort of move on for it. I wish, though, that they would be a little bit more honest about that because, I mean, the way they've been talking about it and doing these promos and doing all that stuff is like, they're like, this is the Disney Marvel content you've been waiting for. And we're like,
I wonder if that's an element of being Disney owned. I gotta imagine that if you're Disney owned, regardless of how you feel, your ability to speak publicly on things will always be limited. Even if you're your own functioning studio, like,
yep, I agree.
You don't just get to go out there and flap your gills.
100%. I think that's totally true. And Disney has always had that attitude where they're like, we're not going to admit shit. You know what I mean? Like, we're Disney.
Like,
you
know
what
I
mean?
To it, but
Yeah, they've just it's sort of always been a thing. Even with some of the more recent stuff, they've slowly been bending on that and even like admittance of wrong. But it feels like they're being publicly shamed into doing it. It's not like they're doing it for altruistic reasons. Shall we get into the Q and the A, Daryn?
Sure.
Let's see what all these crazy people have to say. I wonder if I can go. How far can I go up? I guess I can't go all that far up. So let me pull up this here.
Sorry, guys, that wasn't hype enough for Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
No, I think they can appreciate it. We have our community's pretty divided on the show too. I know a lot of our people really like it, but there's definitely a lot of people in our community that are just not feeling it at all. I actually know some of them that are not feeling it that are not even saying how much they're not feeling it because they're not trying to get the hate, but.
I just want stuff. I want stuff to happen. I want to be confirmed that what I think is going to happen is going to happen. I want that end credit scene that just satisfies all my rumblings. Where I was like, I was right.
Indeed.
I was correct.
Indeed. I think it's just a different vibe. Ultimately, I think that you kind of said it. It's like we have these expectations, and Marvel has always treated us so well in the past, and like we've always sort of eaten so good. And it's weird. It's just a weird feeling. Yeah, it's weird to go a year, try to be as patient as you can be so excited that content's coming, and then WandaVision is sort of set up as they're talking about how it's the best thing they've ever done and stuff. You know what I mean? Like they're really hyping it up, and it just fell really weird. It just ended really weird, and that was weird for me. You know what I mean? Like, and then now to be literally. About to go into the finale of Falcon and Winter Soldier, which I told people was the most anticipated thing for me in Phase 4. Like, people would always ask me, and I'd be like, Falcon and Winter Soldier. And I'm just going to say that the show I had in my mind, this is not it. This is not the show that I said was going to be my most hyped thing. You know what I mean? I was expecting like a buddy cop espionage film that went all over the globe, constant action. While they're processing these crazy dramatic things, but like, Lethal Weapon was doing that shit too, bro. Like, you can process shit and still have fun and blow a bunch of shit up.
I think my heart just wanted like 15 episodes, and I was like so bummed when it's like these shows came out and they're like sex, and I
was also pumped about
15,
hour length.
like,
I thought hour length episodes were awesome because
like,
I remember
God
Daredevil.
damn it.
Like Daredevil hour length episodes.
An hour, because like Daredevil I think has like 12 to 14 episodes of hour length.
Yes, of hour.
And it's like I'm like, you guys have money. I know you got money, bro.
Yep.
Multi-billion-dollar industry. God damn it, I know you got that money. Come on,
you got that money, fucking.
Just give me.
We know you got that money, fuck. We know you got that money. All right, Sozin says, not digging Amber. She got a little ridiculous in the last episode, a little bit controlling. That's the girlfriend of him.
Yeah, but like, what the hell would you do? Like, think about being Amber, right? And the person that you're trying to date is like, gotta go, can't tell you why, but leaving. You'd be like, fuck you. Like, no, you would not.
But
be down.
Zendaya, MJ figured that shit out hella quick. What's up with Amber? Why is she so daft? I mean, he's clearly invincible. Just say it.
Oh yeah, that's what I wanted for this episode. I was like, you just you know,
Just say it.
figure it out.
Yeah.
Figure it out. But I think, I actually, one of the things I did like about the show, though, that I think could be, because like, you have to also remember these people are all teenagers.
True.
You know, that's
True.
smart. And then
True.
Eve's like, if you're going to tell her, you better be serious about her, because
That's
like
true.
once you tell them, like they're in it. And he was like, oh fuck, like I don't know if I can tell Amber because I don't know if I'm serious, because I don't know if I
Because he likes her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's
there's
interesting.
always that little.
That's fair. That's fair. Nathan Tattoo says, what's up?
You want to put lip gloss on?
Did you say you want me to put lip gloss on? That's something you
can we
text.
both put lip gloss on?
That's something you text and not say while we're live. Nathan Tattoo says, all hail Danger Room, just trying to keep up with Mike Porter on Nerdcourt. LOL, simping ain't easy. that feels like a good shirt, man. Simping ain't easy.
Simping ain't easy. It's the anthem of this room.
It is the anthem of this room. Rogue Soul with the $25 holla says, Elisa challenged me, so I gotta be irresponsible, Elisa. Dang, very interesting, Rogue Soul. Getting
challenged about what?
I don't know.
Sim challenge?
I guess it must have been some kind of sim challenge. There must be a simp challenge going on, because Elisa follows up with, gotta simp responsibly for my fellow Lady Vengers. Much love. Much love to the Lady Vengers. We love the Lady Vengers over here.
I'm a lady.
Nice. Tommy Lee says, hope you guys had a great 420. If either of you have any personal favorite Marvel or DC comics, what are those comics? Trying to find more to read. My always go-to with this, it's such a weird fringe choice, but by now you guys are probably sick of hearing about it. It's the Christopher Yost Scarlet Spider solo series from 2016, where that character was after.
That.
It's so cool. It reads like an indie comic, because Kane he's literally about to jump the border. He's just going to go into Mexico and live a life. And he busts up a drug deal to steal the gangster's money, and then he's just going to just go into Mexico. He stumbles into some human trafficking. He's like, okay, well, I'm going to shut this down, and then I'm going to Mexico. Ride. Yeah, and he ends up like reluctantly being a hero.
I do this every week.
It's so cool. There's even a moment where Peter comes to visit him as his quote-unquote brother, and they have a lunch. It's so fucking cool. Love that shit. Unfortunately, it got canceled before he could properly wrap it up, but it is a great run. The first year was incredible.
As you know, I like the original Uncanny X-Men comics. You know, I think the Phoenix Saga is probably one of my favorite of all time. That's something that you'll read for a very long time, because I think it spanned like, how many years did the Phoenix Saga actually span? Like,
the Dark Phoenix Saga was pretty lengthy.
7 years or something, like something crazy. So you could be reading it for a while. And like within that, Wolverine has some like great one-off runs that are good. I really like Jason Aaron's Doctor Strange comics, where if you want to just have like a rip-roaring, good, creepy time, I actually really, really enjoy those. DC comics, I actually like a lot of the like Justice League kind of one-off things. Like Planetary is one of my favorite comics of all time. I think Planetary is it's like, and it's so weird. It's so hard to explain, but I think the best way to explain it is like the main character has ice powers like Iceman, but like instead of, just like making an ice slide, he'll like freeze your frontal lobe, and do some like crazy shit like that.
Yeah.
And obviously, I like all the Frank Miller Batman ones, and I mean, Watchmen's technically.
Yeah, you gotta watch.
DC.
I mean, you gotta read Watchmen. Yeah, for sure.
Come on.
Yeah, I would say when it comes to DC, I'll throw another weird one at them. I would say, it's not.
Oh, Superman Birthright by Mark Waid. I really like that one.
Birthright was good. Yeah. I like Mark Waid too. Mark Waid's awesome. There was the one where Lex Luthor becomes sort of a hero when I want to say it's not Fear itself, but it's something like that. It has to do with the bad Earth 2 Justice League. Why am I blanking on these guys? With like Grid and Ultraman.
Not as full versus DC Comics. I can't even help you.
It's the Crime Syndicate. It's the Crime Syndicate, and it's the series where the Crime Syndicate comes in and takes over, and Lex Luthor saves the day. What's the story? Tell me, chat.
Batman also just has like a lot of cool one-off ones, like The Killing Joke by Alan Moore is excellent.
Yes.
That one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Year One Batman is great.
Dude, Year One is incredible. Yeah, Year One's great. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff out there. Okay, let's see here. Mike Porter says, simping responsibly. Great to see you, Daryn. Josh, really hope the MCU gets Cox, D'Onofrio, Ritter, and Bernthal. Also, shout out to the Lady Avengers. Lady Avengers getting love. Lady Avengers getting love. Somebody clip it. John Smith says, Josh
like,
dripping.
Are we harmonizing? Like, what happened? We were both like screaming a high note at each other, and we're like, harmony.
Harmony. Maybe that's it. We just need to unleash.
Yeah.
And we'll find some weird
unleash
harmony.
Chaos.
John Smith says, Josh dripping in swag, trying to keep preaching that good word, my man. Hey, thank you so much, John. That's very nice. Big Stevie with the very generous $50 holla says, I was going to try the Mike Porter program, but then I remembered it's Wednesday night. Time for a little simping. I don't know. I probably could have fit a different rhythm with that. I'm sorry, Steve. I let you down.
Dance anyway.
I let you down. But thank you so much for the support. We appreciate you. Sheev the Wise says, 6 to 4 grind, LOL. What is a 9 to 5 with the crying face emoji? I sim for Nuzaku. Dude, Nuzaku. What show was she in, man? What show was Nuzaku in? It was in, was she the one in Daredevil? Season 1?
Who's Nuzaku?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Actually, let me look it up. I've got.
How do you spell it?
Nezuko. Oh, that's the chick from Demon Slayer. Okay, yeah, we got a weeb in the house. Sheev the Wise you're showing your weeb card.
I'm like, I guess I'm becoming a weeb, but I'm also Japanese. So what does it mean when a Japanese person likes anime? What are they called?
I still think
just normal people.
Right? Yeah, just Japanese, I guess. I don't know.
Japanese people.
That's pretty much. Shout out to
me is becoming a weeb.
True. Yeah, you're now. All right. Anyways, yeah.
What are we talking?
Yeah, what are we talking? Shout out to Anderson UG. Simp responsibly. Yes, indeed, Mr. Anderson.
Hey. Simp Lord.
Simp Lord. A Simp Lord? Big Stevie W says, Marvel shows aren't better than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Whoa. Wow. No, bro. I can't go that far, Steve. I can't go that far. They're much better. He says they aren't better than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I think they definitely are better than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I would argue.
You know, I never watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because I heard it was so bad, but then everyone said the later seasons were a lot better.
That's what they say, yeah.
That's what they say? What do you say?
I mean, I didn't watch them. Nah. I mean, they get mad at me because like there's a lot of people in our community that love Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And
Josh, fucking butthole.
Yeah, I just gotta... It's with that. It's You know what it was?
I love it. I've never seen it.
Yeah, right.
Like, it's
never seen it. I thought it was okay until they did the weak ass Inhumans, yo. Like the weak ass Inhumans.
Oh, no.
Why?
Was it like the X-Men movies with Phoenix where you're like, don't do the big thing. Don't do the big thing.
Yeah,
you're not gonna like.
Well, plus it's like none of the cool ones. None of the cool ones. So it's like no recognizable. The Inhumans are already like second class mutants. You know what I mean? They're not that cool. I love the Royal Family. Karnak's dope. There are a few of them that are awesome. Thane happens to be dope, but they don't do any of the cool ones. They just do. Yeah. Anyway, it was not that cool. Mason Graves says, Josh and Daryn, I wish we were getting more movies and content and stakes. 2021. I know. 4 Marvel
that's
movies,
why we just
5
keep
shows.
bitching.
Yeah, it's true. There's going to be so much coming forward, though. I think to his point, he's saying like 4 Marvel movies, 5 Marvel shows, most MCU content in a year ever. That's true. That's true. Oh, I see what he's saying. Okay. Okay, so check this out. It's it's like a meme. He's saying, Josh and Daryn, I wish we were getting more Marvel movies and content and stakes. And then it's 2021, 4 Marvel movies. Okay.
All right, fair.
All right. Fine.
All right.
Fine, you young whippersnapper, Mason. You young whippersnapper, you got me. All right,
Don't
fine.
be hitting us with those facts.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Keep your facts to yourself.
Facts to yourself.
Get that $5 out of here. You just take that $5 and put it right back in your pocket. All right. Alma Powell says, I think that we have to see the TV shows as origin stories. I think that's fair. And our action, both story and actual action, is in the movies. But I love Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Wanda. Yo, that's great. That's great. I'm glad that you like it. I think
yes and no.
Yeah, it's like I feel the same. It's like yes and no. I feel like there's some truth in what you're saying. I also, frankly, don't think this is the ideal content. This isn't the content that Marvel even wants to be putting out. So I have to believe that some of the issues that Daryn and I have would have been addressed had the content been completed to the way that it should.
Yeah, and also it's like we've seen 800 origin stories from Marvel that were 10 times billions more exciting.
True, double true. But we've never seen them done in a Disney Plus show. I think that could be the thing.
Which I've always been like pro TV show because I'm like more episodes, more time. If I can always have more, I'm like I'll always take it. Like I'm the one out here that I'm like I want a 4-hour movie with an intermission. I'll stay there all night. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
So if they're like 6 hours of TV show, I'm like sign me up.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, but I understand Alma and I get the point. But frankly, if for no other reason than it'll make me stop bitching, you should want them to do better. Tim says, "Shout out to the best person on the planet." We still will, absolutely.
I'm gonna watch every single thing. So.
Every single thing. AKA Big Bro, Tim says, "Shout out to the best person on the planet, AKA Big Bro. Much love to Daryn. You're doing great. We love you, Josh. You're cool too, though."
Wait, am I the best person on the planet?
No, he says AKA Big Bro. I think he's talking about Sheev, Sheev the Wise.
Sheev, how dare you be the best person on the planet in my stream?
True.
Are you kidding me?
Off with his head!
Off with
his head! Yeah, for sure.
You
done goofed, Tim. Now your big bro's gonna be big gone. RG2088 says the difference for me between the Netflix shows is I wasn't expecting how good they would be. That's fair. WandaVision, I had high hopes for and was let down. With Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I'm getting ready. I'm getting exactly what I want, but not beyond that. I think that's totally fair.
That's actually a really good assessment of it.
Yep, that's a really well-reasoned take, RG. That seems completely fair.
At you reasonable motherfucker.
You reasonable ass motherfucker. So goddamn reasonable, RG.
You're reasonable in this reasonable ass street.
Jeez. Colt says, yo, what's up? What is the percent of truth that the Netflix characters are in the MCU rumor? I don't want to hype myself up for nothing. So here's the best explanation that I can give it. Charlie Cox, super, super likely, like I would say 80 to 90%. I'm at 100% with Charlie Cox. I actually think he's going to be in She-Hulk and he's going to be in Spider-Man 3.
Sexy lawyer action. I love She-Hulk. So.
I would say the rest of them, I'm probably at 60. I would say the news today, just with some of the other news that I've been hearing, I would put it at 60%. It could still fall through, and I actually don't think you'll see any of them anytime soon, with the exception of maybe D'Onofrio. They might put Kingpin in somewhere just because it would be freaking awesome. But also, yeah, that's just my best assessment. I'd say 80 to 90% on Charlie. Everybody else is 60%. That's
when's She-Hulk coming?
Probably next year. I would say next year.
It.
Yeah, me too. I think that's going to be awesome. I'm pretty friggin' excited about it. Tatiana Maslany is hilarious. Daniel says, so hyped. Those 4 Netflix characters are coming. Thoughts on Hellstrom, Invincible, and Mortal Kombat for the win. Take my money. P.S. Simp responsibly. Appreciate it, Daniel. So it's an animated show that was on Hulu of the Devil's Son. It's not a widely known Marvel character, but he is in, I think, Midnight Suns at one point, and he messes around with like Dracula. There's some Blade stories with him, I think, and he messes with some of those characters. I haven't seen it, and Daniel, I'm not like super about that life. I don't have Hulu, so I probably wouldn't check it out.
You don't even have Hulu?
Nah, I don't have Hulu. No.
Aren't you an adult? that can
Kind
afford
of.
like what is it,
Like,
$9 a month?
no, probably
Just
can't.
can't do
Can't do
it.
it.
Like
No, I mean, Hulu back in the day, and I think it might actually still be this way. Hulu was the only subscription service that still ran ads.
you can pay.
And
I pay $14 a month for no ads, but
yeah,
you have to do it. So my sister does Netflix. I do
yeah,
Hulu. My brother
yeah,
does Disney
yeah.
Plus. My mom does HBO. We all contribute something to this family.
Yeah, that is a beautiful way to do it. For me, it's like Amazon, HBO Max, Netflix, and Disney Plus. That's pretty much my
Yeah.
rotation. You know what I mean?
But wait, a creepy crawly show that kind of reminds me. I was like watching your morning stream today. I'm a
Yeah.
fan.
Ooh,
Uh, that you were talking about how Elizabeth Olsen said that Doctor Strange 2 is going to be a horror
yeah.
movie vibe, which I'm
Hmm.
super excited
Yes, yes. No,
about.
me too, me too. That is really good to hear because I was a little concerned that they were gonna
Yeah.
kind of rip all of that out. So, and yeah, I also want her to be a little darker. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um,
well, I mean, I literally just brought up the Jason Aaron Doctor Strange run, but you were talking earlier, I think in your stream, talking about how to really go into the parts of Stephen Strange that are interesting, you do have to get a little dark, and I think that comic has like a really fun spin on that. We're just kind of like fucking like moping around the city as a fucking weirdo and a loner, and they're
yeah,
both these magical loners, these
yep,
weirdos, and I would love to see some horror movie esque creepy magic stuff. That'd be so
yeah,
fun.
yeah. No,
I
I'm
want it. I
totally
want
with
it.
you. Totally with you. Like Steven does get calls to literally exercise demons. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like they could do like
You think he's a good time? Probably not.
no. I mean no, like no.
The demon guy. It's probably
Yeah.
not a lot of fun.
Probably not the super cheery, awesome, fun dude. You know what I mean? And it's just to imagine all the he went through a million different scenarios. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was who knows how long he was in the dark realm getting murdered over and over again. You know, it's wild to me.
Just
Like
getting tortured and
just
fucked with, just like
like
pulled apart,
yeah,
losing
like
a sense of reality.
yeah. I'm sure he's deaf. Like if anything, he should be the get off my lawn kind of character. You know what I mean?
No, for sure. He's just like kind of that. He's kind of a detached, weird dude in a mansion that
Yeah,
knows
that's
way
his
too much
way
about.
too much. That's exactly who he is. And you know what? The best iteration of that was actually that in the post credit scene where he was with Thor with the gloves. The post credit scene of Thor 2 is the closest we've gotten to that version of
Yeah.
Strange. Felicity says was heavily invested in the MCU up to Endgame due to storytelling. If the quote way going forward is edutainment, that is a hell not for me. Disney does not have the right to educate me on anything. What's your take on that?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's a fine line to walk. What show are we talking about this when we say that?
We were talking about Shang-Chi, I think, a little bit
Um,
before.
I just don't like when a show pushes a narrative or pushes like a woke edutainment thing on you.
Yeah.
That feels, we talked about this last week when I think we were talking about Invincible.
Yeah.
Were we?
I
Now I'm like totally blanking.
I don't know
But
if yeah.
I have amnesia. But basically, when a show can fold in a storytelling element that has bigger cultural implications in a way that doesn't feel just ingenuous, but also serves the story of the plot in a super seamless way, that's when I love it. That's when it's masterful. But I'm having like memories of this, like what I said back then. I'm not exactly sure what we were talking about, but what I know I said the last time was when you can tell it's statement first, story second.
Then it
That's
sucks.
when it rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's totally fair. Like, and honestly, here's the other side of it that's totally fair that nobody talks about. Like everybody, and I totally think it's fair to like understand where people like Felicity are at. But you know what? You know whose voices get completely left behind in this discussion is the people that actually totally care about it, absolutely love that kind of stuff, but are maybe just tired of it or a little exhausted. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are people that might actually love that kind of stuff, that even they are starting to look around at modern pop culture and be like, yeah, but what about maybe something different? You know what I mean? Maybe it's not even
Yeah.
so much that they reject it or they won't even make it a big fucking thing. It's just you can only eat so much fucking pepperoni pizza before you're like,
Yeah.
let's try a different thing. I feel like Marvel and the larger Twitterverse and, like, you know, social media completely forgets about like normal ass people that might just have some opinions like that.
Yeah, and it's also it's such a weird line to cross because as this big corporation, it's the same thing when people are like telling celebrities to shut the fuck up and not have an opinion. And I think the same goes for like corporations, like how dare you tell me how to live when you probably have like no idea what it's like to be me. But then at the
Yeah.
same time, they're like, we also have this huge platform. Don't we have a responsibility to at least like try to be something other than just kind of like mind numbing entertainment for people? And it's
Hmm.
such a weird balance because both sides are right and also both sides are like wrong in a way. And so
Yeah.
you could make the argument either way, but I do feel like it can start to rub me the wrong way when it does feel like the agenda comes first, which I don't really feel like I felt with Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I don't think I felt like it was.
No, it's funny because I honestly don't even, I mean, look, we've talked about this like with the community and stuff. It's like, I almost feel like bad for Malcolm Spellman in some ways because I feel like he was already in a weird tough spot being sort of hired to do like the black guy thing and like to just
Mhm.
do the black experience well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's literally hired to do that. That's sort of a weird situation in and of itself. He's got to walk that fine line. But then on top of that, you throw in the pandy, you throw in massive reshoots, you throw in the fact that this brilliant plot that they came up with was so close to reality that they had to gut it. And it's
Yeah.
like, man, like, he probably had it better balanced before. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just going to assume that
Yeah.
he did, and that now it's like this weird spot where that element of it, of course, has to be kept intact and made paramount. But like, there's no other things. It feels like there's an element of it that's missing that would have better balanced it out. You know what I mean? Ultimately,
And that's something that I feel like as an audience have to consider as well because I think we were talking about this last week when they said that they were even going to do something like plague related in the show. Like if someone writes a story and films a TV show and then real life plays it out, it becomes a bad taste in everyone's mouth, like
yeah,
regardless of how good it is. It
yep,
just does. Like, and because cultural context is just as important in like a piece of work's success than the piece of work itself. It's like the times, like how people are feeling, what people want. It's just that all plays a really important element into it. And, if they went really hard on, the black experience for Falcon and then all this stuff comes out and it just like wasn't really hitting and like lining up with like
yeah.
all the amazing things that have happened with like Black Lives Matter in the last couple of months in this past year, then they kind of like put it on the cutting room floor. Like,
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's what's interesting is we actually talked about this today too in the chat, was that like in some weird ways they did both. Like they
mhm.
put, think about it. They put the black experience and, the sort of a very deep look at the checkered past, racial history of America, and they did a virus plot. And 2020 happened to have both of those. You know what I'm saying? Like, so in
Yeah,
some ways, it's like it's kind of crazy how
yeah,
unlucky they got
yeah,
with that. And if they had to choose, they couldn't take both of them out. You know what I mean? So it's like what they had to do one or whatever,
yeah.
and it's just left where it is. But I think back to Felicity's point, I do see her. I Here's my thing is that I don't know if I would go as far as to say they don't necessarily have the right to educate you on anything, because frankly they're really, ultimately, Disney should just be giving license to creative voices, and throughout all human time, storytellers, we have looked to storytellers and the artists that are sort of touched
Yeah.
individuals to teach us some things about ourselves. So I would say I can't totally meet you there, because there have always been lessons and idealism and platitudes that are in storytelling. However, again, I think it more comes down to what is the agenda? Is the agenda to tell good stories that inherently have morality, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or is it to focus on the morality and find a story that matches up to it? I do think there's a big difference.
100%.
But I don't know if I told. It's like I see where Felicity's at, and I of
Which
course you're
that's
allowed
kind
to
of what
feel
we
that.
talked about. It's like both sides are kind of right in that regard. So it's
Yeah.
kind of a really delicate balance. And I think regardless, when you are portraying something that hits really close to home with people, inevitably you're going to rub some people the wrong way because it's just going to be too close to the world that you're living in whatever regard and whatever way they're receiving it. So that's kind of the gamble you have to play. I mean, what is that line from like V for Vendetta? Artists use lies to tell the truth, and
Yep.
politicians use what is
Yeah.
it? Art to cover the truth up, or something like that. I can't remember what the exact words are, but yeah, that's what we do. We look to art for truth in the lies. That's what we do.
Yeah, it's very interesting. William says, have you both read the X-Men graphic novel, God Loves, Man Kills? Do you think it would be perfect for Zack Snyder? So I don't.
I have not.
Yeah, honestly, it's like I want to say I have, but I feel like I might be projecting some other stories into it. So I'm just going to say no. But I will check it out.
Sorry.
So yeah, apologies, William. Maybe we'll try to remember to check that out and maybe let you know next week on it.
I'll add it to my list.
Yeah, add it to the list.
What was it?
Mr. Anderson, God Loves, Man Kills. Mr. Anderson with the $68 super chat.
Yay, Simp Lord.
I think he did like a $1 super chat too to make it like a 69 total. I don't know. That's
wow.
That's what I was hearing.
All right, Mr. Anderson.
Yeah, damn, Mr. Anderson.
With the subtle simping.
With the subtle simping. No, I think he intentionally didn't do it. So now I'm like making him even more embarrassed. Oh, you thought I was gonna keep this simping responsible tonight? I've been simping since simping been simping. Wait, what? Right on, brother.
Just like breaking apart the simping lore.
Yeah, man. This is a very interesting arc that this simp lord is on. The nerd theorists say one thing you have to keep in mind, Josh, is that Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Loki, and especially WandaVision got shafted. Every scene was shot at every scene that was shot at the gazebo was post-Rona. So most of episode 9. You're right. You're absolutely right. And I can throw a dog a bone, and it's an unfortunate thing, but ultimately we are where we are. You know what I mean? We are.
Yeah, I think that's what we've been talking about this whole stream is that like the pandy really done fucked up this whole world, and part of it is the content that we're getting. And yeah, I'm a little bitter. I gotta lie. I'm not gonna lie. I am a little bitter. I want some of that old Marvel.
I'm a little bitter too. So I'm hearing that I said I screwed up Mr. Anderson's thing, and everybody's really upset. So hang on, let me see.
What'd you do?
I've been simping since been simping. Wait. Okay.
All right.
Wait.
It's like when the kid who can't read that well is asked to read in front of the whole class.
I've been simping since simping been simping. I think is what it's. Yeah, I think that's what it's supposed to mean. Look, I'm sorry, brother. It's been a long day.
It says I've been simping since Simp's been simping.
It says I've been simping since. Been simping since.
Oh my god!
Simping. That's what it literally says. Maybe.
It just says Ben simping, Ben simping, Ben simping, Ben.
Yes. So I think it's supposed to be simping since Ben simping since.
Oh, so you've been simping, Ben simping since Ben simping. Oh, I feel you, Mr. Anderson, for sure.
Salomo says been in the comics since.
Did our Matrix just glitch?
Yeah, something's glitching. I've been reviewing the MCU similar to the Ultimate Universe, adapt to the change for a wider audience. Yeah, I think that's fair. In fact,
that's the first part.
They pulled he's talking about how he's been reading comics since the late 80s, and he's been viewing the MCU similar to the Ultimates universe. Which I think, frankly, is exactly the intention of the Ultimates universe. It was supposed to be not only for movies, but like a completely modern take on all of those characters, which is where Miles Morales comes out of. Let us keep going back.
Oh, the Ultimate. No,
yes. No, those I love especially the first couple runs of the Ultimates. Incredible. Mark Millar going crazy. It was insane. Let's see here. Dayton Fishley says, I'm scared Secret Invasion won't be crazy. Yeah, I hear you, man. I think that they're putting a lot into it. I expect it to be pretty wild. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I watched this in your stream this morning too, about like the stacked ass cast, like
Yeah, it's pretty
A-list
stacked.
cast. I mean,
They're
I would
putting,
hope that
yeah,
that means something, but they also, that's how I felt with like Age of Apocalypse. I'm like, oh my God, stacked
true.
A-list cast. Like, oh my God, can't go wrong. And I saw it and I was like, oh, can't go wrong. Okay, never mind. Oh, I was sorely mistaken. But they
It could
really do
go.
have some big ballers in this show. So,
They
I
do.
mean, it's such a big story. I mean,
It's a
come
huge
on.
story,
Like,
and I
how can
think,
they?
yeah, and you're right. Like, it just seems like the perfect setup, and it's going to set up status quo.
Yeah.
You know, moving on and all that too. So, let's see here. Lawrence says, Josh is on point with the makeup tonight. That's very sweet, but actually, it's not makeup. It's
I,
too much red in the room. We're
I
going to
did
get.
see some comments about they're like, Josh looks like he's wearing makeup tonight. And I'm like, no, guys. All I did was tell Josh to turn the light up in front of him.
Yeah, all I did
He's
was
like,
it
he's like,
was going
I
to
look
be like,
red. I'm like,
yeah,
do you have red lights inside of the room? He's like, yes. I'm like, well, turn on the light
yeah,
that's not red. And I was like,
yeah.
that looks
So
so much better.
yeah, it's literally a million
It's
times
lighting.
better. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, no, thanks guys. The makeup's really working.
Yeah.
Josh on point with the makeup tonight. Daryn for the win.
Well,
Dude, oh yeah, we could totally do this. I'd buy that tutorial pre-stream video as an NFT. That'd be kind of funny. Tommy Banana says, shout out for the homie at Tim. Take my money, Daryn, and have a wonderful night. Man, that's so sweet, Tommy. Tim
thank
says,
you.
shout out to Tommy. Look at all this.
Oh,
Oh,
look
you
at
guys are
these
shouting out.
shout-outs
Man, that's
up in
awesome.
here.
Kevin says, I love Darren's shirt. And shame on the chat for this being the first super chat to mention that, because that shirt is
Okay,
fantastic.
wait, you guys. Look, wait, hold on.
That shirt is so cool.
Look at this shirt. I got it from Art for Villains. You see the whole thing?
It's
This
pretty
is a dope ass shirt.
Yeah, that
It's
is
pretty cool. I just got it, so I'm like very stoked on it. That new t-shirt, new t-shirt vibe. I'm into it.
Yeah,
Everyone go get it. Art for Villains.
My new shirt swag. Alma Powell says, agree with the ambition theory. I think they plan a big event or plan the big events, but not others. If you look at the shows as phase 1/2, it helps the vibe. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. And I think that honestly, the next, I think Loki's gonna.
I missed the beginning of that.
He's basically saying that like the ambition of the he was agreeing with our point about the ambition of the MCU, but he was saying that like if you look at the shows as phase 1 and 2, it helps because like phase 1 and 2 had some like sort of floundering and figuring itself out.
I mean,
and I think that,
Thor.
Yeah, totally. Like it's fair.
It's Thor. In this version of the face.
Yeah, the blonde eyebrows was a big.
Okay. That will forever be my biggest qualm with that movie. I love you for saying that.
It was weird.
It really upsets me.
It's
I think
really
about it
weird.
to this day.
He looks like a totally different person.
I hate it. I hate it more than I hate anything in the MCU. Why would you?
Awesome.
Why?
Why?
Ask any. There wasn't a single female in the room. They're like, should we dye his eyebrows? Not one of them was like, I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah, true. That's funny. Nathan Tattoo says, so wait, I came up with the name of the show and the theme. Hell yeah, Sip It Ain't Easy, baby. That's true. Remember, Nathan Tattoos was the one that came up with the name and the theme of the show.
Oh, shit. Darren's Danger Room and Symphony Easy? Damn.
Gotta cut this man in. Cut this man in. Get him a job. Put him on the payroll. Rogue Soul with the $69 super chat says, I'm super responsible. Elisa is the queen. I don't care what anybody says, except Elisa. God damn, dog. That's some serious.
Like the 69 is starting a trend, and I
is.
think it's kind of funny.
It is funny.
Why is 69 so funny? It just is.
It's perfect.
We're all simple.
420,
simple little lizard creatures.
They're just funny. You know what I mean? It's
just
funny.
Just like farts and falling down will always be funny. You'll never make.
And nut punches. Nut punches will always be funny, even though they're super cruel. Kyle Kata. Yes, well, consider yourself lucky. I've taken a few blows. Kyle Carter says, "What is Daryn's shirt? It looks epic. Nice. People are finally starting to notice the awesome shirt." Tommy Banana says, "Shout out to Tim. Way cooler than that Tommy kid." Sosu Sosa says, "Omni-Man said Earth isn't yours to conquer. Conquer? And Amber wouldn't even let him go get help? That was a little weird." He said, Earth isn't yours to conquer. Who did he say that to?
I don't know who said that to.
Yo, I'm gonna have to double check that. Yo, hit me on the Discord about that. That sounds really interesting. I gotta know what you're talking about there, man. I'm not sure.
But even with like the Amber stuff, I think she was more pissed that she was helping people and he disappeared while a robot was literally trying to kill the people around her. She's just like dragging a limp body, and she's like, "Where's Mark?" And he's like, "Oh, I."
That's fair. It's fair. I think that you're just led to believe that she's so traumatized that she can't put it together.
I mean, he's just like, he has to tell her. Just tell that bitch.
Yeah, just tell him.
Matthew
K says, "Where have the awesome Bucky mechanical arm scenes been? He went head to head pretty hard with Steve in Winter Soldier. I feel like he's powered down in Falcon and the Winter Soldier." What do you think about that?
Yeah.
I think it's possible. Yeah.
I think this is just like an overall lackluster view of all the fighting in the show. Because I like those creative fights, and I thought they were super. I thought what they did with Bucky, since he's also a super soldier that does hand-to-hand combat moves, what they did with his arm and stuff in previous movies was a delight to watch.
I wonder how much of the action scenes were taken out because they were also virusy or something. You know what I mean? And then it's like, oh, wow, did they just have to dumb those scenes down? Were they not able to get their main choreographers back, because of Rona? It's like, you really do have to wonder, man. I would love to see the full explanation, Galen Boner Merrick Tex Venger, nice, says, "Simping responsibly, Boner 420, love you, Daryn."
Thank you. Love you too. 42069. But you know what? That did actually make sense to me that a lot of these people probably didn't get to train how they usually would for these regular projects, because for the most part, these people are training for like a year.
Yeah, 100%.
And they were not allowed to train this year.
Yep. It's
something
starting
to think about.
It's starting to make a little more sense.
Something to think about.
Dirt Wizard says, "I'm a lady." LOL. Every time she says that, I can't stop laughing. You two singing the "I'm a Lady" song should be the theme song of the show. Second Street Marvel is the best. Aw, yeah, Trinity's the best. That's really sweet.
That's actually from Bill Burr. That's how Bill Burr says "lady" in his podcast. That's what I got it from. But that would be really funny because, like, I'm the lady on this channel.
Right?
The theme song is like, "I'm the lady.
I'm a lady."
I'm a lady.
That would be kind of funny, man. People would probably cancel us or some stupid shit.
Like, that's sexist.
That's sexist. But she is the lady, though.
But I am the lady.
Yeah. Ryan Shelton says, "Can I get knighted?" Yes, you can. Ryan Shelton, welcome to the Nerdvengers. You are a Nerdvenger now. Welcome, my friend.
Can you do a knight with two swords, but you just go like...
That would be like cutting their heads off or something, right?
No, you're going over the head, obviously.
Well, what if you mess it up, though? Or what if they have a
then you shouldn't be knighting people. You're fired.
I'm used to normally knighting like that with one hand, and I'm not a lefty, and
I know, if someone was extra legit, you're like, you know what?
That's true. That's true. Maybe I got to think about this. You're right. Or just kind of cross guard saber them and then look over to Palpatine.
Then you start doing knife tricks over their head, and they're like, okay, whoa, what am I?
Whoa. Oh, my ear. Yeah. And then he says, "And will Eli and Sam form a Steve and Sam like relationship? Eli grows inspired by Sam like Sam was by Steve. Eli trusts Sam too." That would be really cool, actually, and I could see that happening, especially because they do, I think, when they use Eli for the Young Avengers. So that would be cool. I'd be into that.
Eli's the guy in Old People.
Eli is the son of Elijah.
Or son of Isaiah.
Yeah, son of Isaiah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. He is Elijah.
Also, shout out to the guy who plays Isaiah Bradley. Great actor.
Oh my God, he's incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Like...
That scene with him and that scene with him and Mackie was like two absolute stud actors just totally cutting up a scene. It's fantastic. Again, it's just unfortunate that it's
So
sitting in
he'd
the
play the son too, wouldn't he? No.
no, the son. No, that dude's actually 69 years old. We thought he was much younger. He's 69, but they still put makeup on him to make him look older.
Oh, I thought you said that they put like a young dude
I
in
thought he was
all.
much younger. But he's still built like a
Uh,
truck, though. He's still a truck, but
yeah.
like I thought he was much younger. But now he's 69. It's wild.
I was gonna say, I was like, he's got a great old man voice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was wrong on that one. Andrew Heigl says, "Can you explain the physics of the shield? I always assumed the pinball and Mjolnir return effect was because Steve was using it. Love the channel and the stream." No, it's actually I think just because it's made of vibranium. If you notice,
Vibranium like
yeah,
rejects things, so that's like
yeah,
its whole thing.
it's
It
all about
rejects
it's all about
impact.
kinetic energy, and that if you know like when if you remember when Black Panther was getting hit with the impacts and then they were able to absorb that energy and then use it as a blast, that's something like the what's going on just in the normal vibranium. So like just a
Yeah,
small amount of energy sends it back,
that's why
and
like
then
making it. That's what makes it like lightweight,
yep,
but also not indestructible,
super
but pretty indestructible
yeah,
because it just
pretty
repels matter and what is force in
yeah,
the way that other metals are not supposed to.
yep. Uh, and then let's see here. RSG says, Josh, can you pin a link to join the NERDVENGERS?
Someone else do it.
Yeah, if somebody can, or rather, let me. I'm looking at this thing over here, brother. So I will in just a moment, my friend. And also, episode 6 gave me triple threat vibes. Bucky, Sam, and John versus the Flag Smashers could be pretty intense. Yeah, I actually do expect that sequence to be very intense.
Yeah.
And I think that Sam, I had this thought that I'm hoping Sam, when he gets the wings from Wakanda, that they're not red, white, and blue right away. I'd actually prefer them to be like black and gold, like Bucky's arm.
Me too.
That'd
Like
be
neutral.
sick. Yeah, and then he decides to then.
I also want to
paint
see
it.
more brutality from the Flag Smashers. So, like in the final big bad fight, I want to see the Flag Smashers just like using guns.
Yeah.
Like I just like they're super soldiers, but I want to see them like fighting to kill, as in
Yeah.
opposed of like punch, then I duck, then I use a knife. It's like no, these are like desperate, untrained people. They would use like the brutality at their disposal and how these, military men would figure out a way to combat that would be
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah,
That.
agreed.
That,
And
please.
hopefully we shall. And yeah,
Just get
RSG
more
man.
knives.
We'll get you the link. Soon, my friend. Rogue Soul says for the $6, might as well round out my super chat total to $100. Keanu, Keanu as Ghost Rider. You,
Wow, you
Lisa.
will never get off that hill. That'll be the hill you die on.
That is the hill that you are going.
What
to
happens when
die
Keanu
on.
actually becomes Ghost Rider? He'll just
Dude,
ascend.
this guy,
He just-
man. Yeah, I think you might be right.
He levels up.
He's gonna be like go Super Saiyan. Like he's just gonna
He's
just-
manifested.
yeah, dude, for sure. Alan Peak says my most anticipated were always Shang and Eternals, then Loki and Hawkeye. Invincible rules. Yes, indeed. I tell you, maybe it was just because of my sort of unfamiliarity with the Eternals and, Shang-Chi I thought would be cool, but that trailer for Shang-Chi has really hyped me up.
I'm pumped. I'm hoping it
very
gives me the Kung Fu. Okay. So what I thought Mulan was going to do is bring like this bridge between like old Kung Fu movies and modern westernized movies. I thought it was going to be like this cool bridge between those, and it wasn't. So I'm thinking that this one might be it, because with those old Kung Fu movies, there was kind of a little bit of like surrealism into it, where they're just like doing, ungodly shit, and there's like, but I think the intersection of like superpowers within that will make it more palatable for people who aren't familiar and used to that. So I really do. I have hopes.
Yeah, I have high hopes. I just looks so damn cool, and seemingly looks like he worked really hard, and he's like that sidekick thing that he did. I mean, like he looks like
that was so fun.
It was really fun, and I love kung fu movies, and I love like the idea of like dragons and stuff.
Western, like a merging of the two. And I think this is kind of going to be the perfect element to do it.
Yes.
I hope it doesn't.
Oh, okay. So Kevin is saying that when Omni-Man went through the portal to fight the alien invaders on their planet, is when he said, "Earth is not yours to conquer." So is he conquering Earth? Is he setting? Yeah. Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Could be crazy. Maybe he's trying to conquer them or
Paying
something.
attention enough. Oh, maybe the Viltrumites.
Yeah. Could be.
Sheesh.
Could be. Or are they the servants of a different alien race? Dun dun.
I love that show.
Oh, it's so good. Can't wait. Logan Moe says, "Can I just say the protect your neck fight scene in the Defenders was so fire." Yeah, there's a ton of great fights in that. It's when the song was playing. They had one of those songs. I think it might be when they break into rescue that one chick or whatever, or don't they like break into that building? It's been a while since I've actually watched The Defenders.
Me too.
But I actually liked it. A lot of people shit on The Defenders, the show. I thought it was good. I
wanted Luke Cage and Jessica Jones
just to bang it out. Yeah.
I wanted them to figure it out in that show, but it was just even sadder, which I also liked too. I was like, it's even sadder now. I don't know.
Yeah, Jessica's she's all the way screwed up, man. You know what I mean?
Hottest superhero sex scene.
Yeah, that shit was hot though. That shit was hot. Nathan Tattoo says, "I'll take a check anytime." But for real, I want to be a part. Already have submissions for my Nerd Tattoo review segment. Check Discord. No, for sure, brother, for sure, man. I know there's a lot of people that want to get involved, and we definitely want as many awesome people as we can. I'm just so swamped right now, my guy. I am just so swamped right now. Even our people need more attention, like the people we already have doing stuff. So just give me a little bit of time, my guy. Elisa Scott says, "Danny DeVito for Ghost Rider or bust."
Oh my God.
Now I can see why people simp for her. Trev,
what is this whole thing going to do?
Right? Trev with the $5 super chat says, "Just stopping in. Hope it was a great night. Time to get the Loki hype train rolling. Share your insights into what Loki show into what the Loki show will be received."
I think we talked about it a little bit earlier, but I think he's saying how you think it'll go. I think the Loki show is going to be a lot better than the others. I don't know why. It's something in the trailer. Just it feels like a more put together show.
It does,
with a more clear purpose. Like we said earlier, you see the Skrull. I'm like Skrulls. You see the Skrulls.
You see them Skrulls.
Skrulls. I'm mixing Korean Skrull. You see them in there, so you know that's already going to tie into the Secret Invasion storyline. It just seems like a little more intentional.
Yes.
And maybe Tom Hiddleston, it's like
he's tying it together, but frankly, so is the homie. So is Owen Wilson.
Oh yeah.
He seems incredible in the show. They seem perfect together.
Also, Loki's character is just a lot more fun. Like with WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they were kind of taking B-side characters and giving them their time to shine, where Loki's always been that bitch. Like, everyone's always like, where's Loki? I love him. Yep. So I think maybe it's a little bit of that.
That's fair. That's fair.
I'm one of those bitches. I'm like, where's Loki?
I'm there too. I'm there too. Loki's one of my favorites. It's going to be freaking-tastic. Dirt Wizard says, "Danny DeVito for Wolverine or bust."
Or bust.
Or bust. That's
How do we harmonize that?
I don't know. Or bust. Hey, we tried.
You're welcome, guys.
Yeah, you're welcome, guys. This is the content you're showing up for every week. You think we don't know? LMI Music, I said it right this time, says, "Okay, sure, that's cool, but if that's the case, then just copy and paste DBZ with Frieza and the Saiyans." Yeah, but what's wrong with that? That sounds awesome to me. I think that would be real cute, man. Why you got to be all butthurt about it? Come on, man. Come on, LMI Music. Come on, man. And then Nathan Tattoo says, "Tell Daryn about the Nerdvengers Glocks, my guy." Yeah, so Nathan is he's a competition shooter. And he took two of his Glocks and put
Canada?
No, like etched in.
Oh
Like,
shit!
yeah, like he etched in NERDVENGERS with the
I want
with the
that.
freaking symbol and everything. They're on their Discord. They look clean as hell.
I want that.
I personally enjoy getting dope ass guns, and I told him if he makes me two of the Colt 1911s, which are the Punisher guns, with like
Oh,
little
fuck.
NERDVENGER. Oh man.
Then
Oh
you'll
man.
just like melt into a ball of just like,
Oh my
I
god,
did
that would
it.
be
I
like
did
how
it.
badass would that be having them on the wall? You know what I mean? Like just it'd be so cool.
I've
It'd be
still
so
never
cool.
shot a gun, but I'm like, really want to.
Yeah,
And I've tried to go a few times and like it fell through, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to be out here in the fucking apocalypse not knowing how to shoot a gun. Like
I think
that's
everybody
just not
should
going
know.
to happen. That's
I
just
think
not going to happen.
yeah. I don't talk about it a lot because I know it's not popular, but I think everybody should do it. Sozu Sozen says last simp of the night. Any plans for the weekly show with our boy Paul from Heavy Spoilers? Dude, for sure, man. I mean, first of all, I'd love to do more collabs with Paul. Paul and I are talking about doing that political podcast together and stuff. But man, like,
Ooh, sizzle,
it's
sizzle.
it's just rough out here, brother. I'm tired, dog. You know what I mean? Like, frankly, I'm tired.
Only so many streams one little man can do.
Man, I'm telling you. It's
How many
but
words are left in that brain?
not many. Rogue Soul says roguesoul.exe has stopped working. Nice, dude. Let's see here. Kansas City Beef says, hey, Josh, sing Phil Collins' Strangers Like Me from Tarzan, please. I'm begging you just for a second.
Can you show me?
I don't
I
remember
wanna know
that
if
song.
they're strangers like me.
Oh, is that the
I
one?
wanna know as a papa.
Whoa.
Way to sing it in the register.
Yeah,
It's hot.
it's
So
super
hot.
hot. So hot right now. And challenging. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to
Thank
call it there.
you.
Thank you guys for being here. Y'all are too kind. We'll be
Did a
back
lot of
at it
weird
next
stuff
week.
this stream, I feel like, but that is
They might
what
get
you're
weirder and
here
weirder.
for. They are.
And I'm okay with it.
Just settle into it, guys.
Yeah, just
like
settle in.
yeah.
Settle in. All right, everybody. We love you guys. Thank you so much.
Love
And
you.
we'll see you in the next one. Ta-ta for now.